everyone. My name is Johnie Urban, and I am here with Beatrice Alexander. And I am the person that has started this Entrepreneurs Wearing Hats. It's going to be turned into a podcast also. Right now it's on YouTube. I also am the founder of Sensitive Authentic Speaker, and that is where I help train entrepreneurs how to formulate their message and do public speaking to grow their business. But right now, I want to introduce you to Beatrice. I met Beatrice on Facebook, and social media is amazing. And when you find some friends on Facebook or wherever, and you just instantly connect, it's just a wonderful platform to use. And I just really encourage people to get out there on Facebook and just meet as many people as possible. So I wanted to interview Beatrice because she is a unique entrepreneur. And what she does helping entrepreneurs is rather profound in how she does it. Not so much what she does, but how she does it. And Beatrice is also a kindred spirit. We are both certified, highly sensitive people, where we actually see and feel and sense the world around us a little bit deeper and longer than most people. Is that true, Beatrice?
Absolutely.
That is, yes. And so we connected on Facebook, and I've already helped her with a project she was doing, and I know that we're going to be great friends going forward.
Yes.
So let me formally introduce Beatrice, because this is what is important so that you get to understand who that you're going to be listening to. So Beatrice, and she has a lot of letters after her name because she's highly educated. She actually holds a master's degree in counseling psychology, and she works as a licensed am I saying this right? Psychotherapist.
Yeah.
I said it right? Okay.
Yeah.
For 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
She gains insight. She uses deep psychological understanding and vast knowledge on personalities, human behavior, and emotions. And those last three are what I love also doing.
Mm-hmm.
And as a highly sensitive person, she channels these traits into her coaching and her mentoring. It's a beautiful gift. Beatrice's mission is to create a world of connection, authenticity, full expression, and a higher consciousness by helping you remember how much you matter, face and erase your fears, and calling back your power. And that is just amazing when that happmes with someone. Is that true?
It is beautiful. Yeah, empowerment.
Yeah. So with all that education, Beatrice, I'm really curious and everything. It's like you could be working almost anywhere, but you've chosen to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yes. Could you explain that? Why did you choose to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I think it kind of chose me. It didn't happen right away. Once upon a time, I was living in America, actually. And I had this life where I had a lot of things. Like I had a nice house with a pool and a waterfall, and I had a nice car. I had a job, a successful job, actually, where I traveled around the world already. And I had a husband, and I had all these things. And I thought I was happy. And I was actually pretty miserable, but I didn't know I was miserable because everybody around me seemed really happy, having all these things. And then there's always this little voice in the back of my head that was whispering, there is more, there is more. And maybe that was connected with my little entrepreneur that wanted to come out. And but I didn't listen at first because I love my comfort zone. And stepping out of your comfort zone, as you know, is difficult because there's all these wounds and these limiting beliefs that often hold us back to express ourselves fully. And I know, I remember I used to watch this show on TV on this channel called TLC. Mm-hmm. And it was about flipping houses. So this crew traveled around the country, flipping all these houses in all these different places. And I was, sitting on my couch, always watching that show and feeling so strongly that, oh, I wish I was there. Oh, I wish I was there. Yet I never thought having a different life than the one I was having was an option, because I was happy. And that's just, it wasn't meant for me to be an entrepreneur or to live in Bali as I do now. And then the universe, as it often does when you don't listen, just starts to push you and push you. And I didn't listen because I love my comfort zone. I didn't listen to the first little poke, and I didn't listen to the first little push. And then the universe just kind of pulled the rug out underneath my feet, where a lot of things happened in my life that were really challenging, where everything kind of fell apart. And then I was totally thrown out of my comfort zone already. And I started to really see truth and feel my heart, and allow myself to feel my heart, and allow myself to heal the wounds that were keeping me from stepping out into my power, stepping out as an entrepreneur. And slowly, step by step, I started listening to my heart more and more, listening to my intuition more and more. And I ended up living in Bali. And once I got to Bali, I started to build my business. And that's how I became an entrepreneur.
That's really awesome. And did you build your business locally in Bali or on the internet, or both?
It's mostly on the internet. Yes.
Yeah. Internet makes it easy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
It's like, yeah, I'm curious about how you ended up in Bali. Tell people, was it your dream?
No, it's Bali has always been calling me for years and years, when I was still sitting on the couch watching these shows, wishing I was somewhere different. Bali has always been there in the background. I just didn't think that was possible for me. It wasn't meant for me. And then, I don't know, all the signs started to point toward Bali once I just decided to listen to my heart. Like, people knew people that lived in Bali. I was connected with them. I was able to ask some questions of, what is it like? And then I just went for it. I just booked a ticket and I came to Bali. And I hadn't even looked up that much about Bali. It was just really intuitively based mostly.
Yeah. No, I get that. When you know it's right, it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long have you been there?
I've been there about 2.5 years.
Oh, yeah. That's
going
enough.
on to 3. Yeah.
Yeah, long enough to really learn it and know that was a good decision, right?
Yes, the best decision.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Glad you're having a good time. It's really great, and you'll be able to build your business there and everything. And it just goes to prove to all you entrepreneurs out there listening, is that, especially now with the internet, is that you don't have to be stuck anywhere. You don't have to be. You can just pick up and go, as long as you've got internet, and you can go. And,
absolutely.
And yes. Build it anywhere and live the life of your dreams, like Beatrice is doing.
Be a nomad.
Yeah. So Beatrice, tell us a little bit more about how you help people, but specifically how, like there's a question here that you sent me, and I never would have thought to ask you this question, but it just makes so much sense when I read it. Is like, what have your observations been that you've had about the path of entrepreneurship that you see in other entrepreneurs? What have you observed?
Well, based on my own experience and what I've seen around, is that a lot of entrepreneurs have common highest values of freedom, independence, and most important of all, self-expression and authenticity. And being an entrepreneur, it's heart-based. it's purpose driven. It comes from somewhere in here. It's not always an easy path, and it can be a lonely path sometimes. It's much easier to be employed somewhere and have the consistency of a paycheck every so often, and it's a bit more challenging from my experience to be an entrepreneur. So it's definitely comes from a place deep inside your heart. There's something that you're meant to share, that you want to share. Mm-hmm. It's also, from what I've noticed, it's also a continued journey and path of self-expansion. Being an entrepreneur is like the biggest self-development journey because you know, it's like you don't get to stay in your comfort zone most of the time. And well, my experience mostly is with the coaching industry. I mean, I know there's different types of entrepreneurs, but that's what I've observed from myself and from others, that, you know, it constantly challenges something about you. You know, it constantly pokes at some sort of trigger that you can't run away from, because you want to share this thing that you have to share. Yeah. You want to share your gifts. You want to step more and more into your power. And yeah, that's were my observations about the path.
I think I heard once, is, you can't quote me by creating this, but I heard it from somebody else, is that we're the only ones that will work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours for somebody else.
That is true.
we will do that. It would, but yeah, especially for a highly sensitive person, the listening audience, if you don't know what that is out there, that's like, we'll link up and I'll help educate you a little bit. We'll help you with this. But a highly sensitive person is like, where brains are a little coded a little different. It's who we are, and it's not something that we've created. It's just how we are, and we're born. According to research, there's about 20% of the population that are highly sensitive, that have this nature about ourselves. And we just, there's very different degrees. We're just not all black and white. And we just tend to see things, feel things, know things for random reasons or whatever. And you know, like some sensitive people, we look at it as a power. We take it on and we evolve into being mature about it and use it to help others, instead of being a crumbling mess, crying mess. It's like, that's what most people think that's what it means. And we do have our moments, but in the deep crying mess of hurt, we're also going to be a deep crying mess in great joy and happiness. We get to have both. And that's the beauty of it, is like, we deep feeling people pretty much. And being an entrepreneur with those traits and abilities, we can help our clients at a deeper level, because we actually know and feel, and we can, I hate saying this, we can almost read their minds.
Yeah.
We can almost read their minds, because we feel that whatever they're feeling, we feel it, and we feel it deeply. Yeah. So we can help them better. We can actually help them better. And so when someone has a struggle, like, one of the things I want to ask you here is, like, you know, what have you observed as struggles for entrepreneur world? And it's like, we know they struggle because we see it and we feel it. Mm-hmm. The big question is, what do people struggle with? What are these entrepreneurs actually struggling with? And a lot of people will tell me that this is what they tell me. Oh, I don't know how to get clients. And I'm like, that's something you do, not who you are. And so we have to break it down. So tell me your opinion, Beatrice. What do you think that entrepreneurs struggle with the most?
Well, I think there are certain themes that I see. Some things are easier for some people than others. So some people might be able to do this a little better, and then some people have a hard time with that. And so some things flow easy and some things are hard. And the things that are particularly hard, and I mean, when it's so hard that you almost want to disassociate from it, you know, when you know that something has been triggered, like when there's a pain, because, you know, sometimes things are hard for everybody, but sometimes things are hard where there's just this pain, this wound that comes up for you. Then that means that there is a wound. You know, you feel the pain, there is a wound. And most likely those wounds were created at some point in time during your childhood, based on situations and challenges and pain that has really nothing to do with what's going on today, but it's kind of originated in the past. And together with those core wounds, you created some limiting beliefs about you and about the world and about people that are continuously running in the background in your subconscious mind. Yes. Like this software is running in this computer right now. Yeah. You know, making things happen, creating these pictures, allowing us to talk to each other. It's the same with the subconscious mind. It's like this big computer that stores every little experience that you've ever made in your entire existence. And then these programs pretty much determine your path in a way, because they're always running in the background based on these wounds. And some of the wounds that you might have, some of these core wounds that are, I am not safe. I am not loved. I am powerless. I can't trust. I don't trust. And I'm not perfect. And then off of these core wounds, a lot of different beliefs can spring off that can hold us back. Now, the ego, then, the ego is part of the subconscious mind. I know a lot of times we don't think about what is the ego, although we talk about the ego, but the ego is a component of the subconscious mind that is protecting us from feeling this pain of these wounds. So it will play these limiting beliefs in your mind or portray them to you, and you might not even be aware of it, but whisper it to you. You're not enough. You're powerless. You can't do this. And then we can't do certain things, and you know, certain things block us from success and from stepping into our purpose and stepping into our power.
Oh, the big one is when the ego pops up and says, who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? That's right.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah, that shows up a lot.
That's a big one. Yes.
That's a big one. And yeah. I know when I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just have to, things come to my mind when you're talking, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta share this too. But that's a big one that I get when I'm working with my students, is you know, because they're developing a speech that they're going to deliver, and there are stories in there and all this kind of stuff, and they're just sitting there just like, I can't do it. I am to tell this intimate story, and I'm like, well, who do you want to be? And they're just like, what? And you tell your ego to take a hike, because the ego has nothing to do with this. Right. And it's as if you want to be this entrepreneur, you've got to tell the story of how you got there, because that's how they're going to understand you and come on board with you. And in order to tell this personal story, they have to tell their ego to take a hike. Go take a nap. Leave me alone.
Exactly. Yes.
I can be this entrepreneur that I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. That
makes sense.
That makes total sense. That's one thing that I have observed as a theme, as a big theme, is the self-doubt. That who do I think I am? Do I know what I'm doing? Why would anybody want what I have? It's like, I'm a fraud. This whole imposter syndrome.
That's right.
And Yeah, that is uh, most likely comes from an unmet need in your childhood. And that unmet need possibly could be that you weren't able to express yourself when you were younger, or you were not really noticed. It wasn't safe to be seen or to be heard.
Right.
Maybe you tried to express yourself, but you just got kind of shut down.
Well, it's not just being heard. It's not being listened to. It's being heard, like deeply heard. What we can say the words, you know, whether we're 3 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, we can say the words and the language. But if somebody around us that we trust isn't deeply hearing what our needs are, because it's really hard to articulate exactly what you need when you're 5 and 6 years old, right? But if you don't have a nurturing person around you, whether it's your parents or an older sibling or somebody that says, okay, I really know what you need and let me help you. If you don't have that, then yeah, you grow up with this in your psychic, and yeah, it is. And especially if you're a sensitive person, it's really important that the adults we work with today, Beatrice, correct me if I'm wrong, but the adults we work with today, they are in a place where they need to be deeply heard. And once you get them past that point of I'm here and I hear you, and I want you to start, our clients and students, I want you to start asking other people what you need them to do for you so that you will be heard and understood. And that's so new to them. It blows their mind. It's like, wait, you want me to tell them what they need? I go, yeah, I do it to even my husband. I says, when he's not responding to me very well, and I go, listen, I want you to say exactly this. And I give him the script.
Yeah.
I want him to say. Yes. And it's really weird how it works, because when he says it, I'm like, okay, I can breathe now.
Yeah. No, it's so important to give people instructions
yeah,
of what to do instead of the thing that is not helping.
Yeah, and that's very healing. It's very healing for.
Yeah, it is.
For them.
A lot of healing, I find, lies in the witnessing. Being witnessed. That's why coaching is so healing in a way too, because you're being witnessed by somebody, or any type of therapy or whatever.
Yeah,
just being witnessed is healing.
It's important to find the right coach too. I tell people that all the time. Find a coach that fits your personality or your nature. And I went through that. I've had to fire a handful of coaches throughout my transformation to being a coach after a few sessions, because I'm just like, what you're telling me I just can't do, I won't do. And they're just like, why not? And it's because I had no answer to that, Beatrice. I says, I just won't do it. But now I know why I wouldn't do it. It was outside my values and everything. But yeah, it's important to find a coach and that fits who you are. And so that's interviewing and talking to them and finding out what it is. And don't feel bad moving on if that's not the coach for you. That's the way I look at it. And everything like that, but there's something else you wanted me to also ask you too. Is there a specific block that you notice in entrepreneurs that if they could, if you could just share that, if there's a block to help our listening audience, it's like, okay, if you have this block, you need some help because you can't move forward with this block.
Yeah, well, one we kind of talked about already a little bit is that the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome. I think that's one of the major ones. And it comes back to limiting beliefs of feeling powerless, of feeling so powerless that you cannot take action. And then you start to self-sabotage possibly by procrastinating or doing things like that. That all can be related to this wound of feeling powerless.
What do people do that self-sabotage? Is there more is there like a list, a laundry list that you could go through, you know, that
Mhm.
it's okay, if I do this, this, and this, that means I'm self-sabotaging. What
Yeah.
is that?
Maybe you don't return phone calls to opportunities that were offered to you, like invitations of people saying, hey, we should do a workshop together. or even return messages to clients, or not following up, going through your follow-ups.
Yeah. One of them I've been struggling with lately in the last few months is indecision. It's like I am questioning decisions. It's like, is this working? Is it not working? Do I change it? Do I stay with it? It's like, I've been in indecision a lot lately in the last few months. And so, yeah, that's a big one, indecisions.
Yeah. I know that one too. Yeah.
And that's hard.
Or finding fault in situations like this. Oh, no, I can't do this because of blah, 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 and this and that.
Yeah. Or in other people.
Or in other people.
In other people. Yeah. We might feel bad or yucky or whatever, and we blame it on things outside of ourselves, other people, other circumstances, instead of taking the responsibility of, okay, it's me and I got to do something about it.
Yes.
We put the blame on somebody else.
Yeah. A little touch of being a victim in a situation.
Yeah.
And giving you power away to outside situations and people.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Boy, that stuff sneaks up on you.
It does. We've all been there.
Yeah. and we still go there. I had someone ask me earlier today, I think on Facebook, where we were talking about it. I'm going to lose my train of thought now. And it has something to do with that subject, though. It has something to do with, what exactly? I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, but it had something to do with that.
The victim?
Yeah, the victim. About being the victim. And this particular person, she's usually bright and funny, and I love talking to her and all this kind of stuff. But she was feeling really she's been under the weather, kind of sick feeling since the 4th of July, and she was typing to me on Messenger, and I was just hearing her tone that she was like, and she was complaining about her roommate, and I'm just like, wait, why is she being the victim? So I told her, I typed it in there, and I go, maybe if you stop being the victim, I know you're not feeling well, but it's not her fault. So we just went through, and she's just like, oh yes, I got it now. So she quickly turned it around. Hey, it's not your fault you got sick, but it's not your roommate's fault either. So
you take back your power.
And
step back into your power.
Yeah, so it sneaks up on us, but it's the level of I know what it was. I was in a different Facebook group, and they were talking about who are these coaches that think we're perfect? We can coach somebody because our life is perfect. And I immediately shot back on that one, and I go, oh no, we're not perfect. There's a false belief that that somebody could be perfect, have a perfect life. Oh no, we don't have a perfect life.
No, not at all. And that's just the opposite of authenticity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there's a false belief that life is perfect. Yeah. And we just keep working on it. All entrepreneurs out there that are there to help their clients and their students and whoever they're working with. It's a matter of, we've walked the path before, we know the easy route, and now we're going to share that with you, and you're going to pay us for that knowledge.
Yes.
Pretty much that's it. And do we still have a lot of growth to do? Yes.
Yes.
But I'm not going to wait until I'm 99 years old, 1 foot in the grave, and then all of a sudden start helping people. That's not who we are.
Yes. Yeah, it's like giving people the shortcut so they don't have to go all the way around like we had to do.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much like we had.
based
Yeah,
on our experience,
struggle is part
our
of life,
growth.
but yeah, let's shorten that path.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bunch of pretty good blocks there. So how would you could you share with the audience? It's like what's your best advice to get started if an entrepreneur is out there and has blocks and they're not making decisions and they're not moving forward and they're not following up with calls? What is the first step they should take to start reversing that pattern?
Well, the first step to take is to realize that you have a wound, to feel into it and to acknowledge it. I know for a lot of big portion of my life, I was experiencing all these triggers and all this pain, but I didn't know that those were triggers. Yeah. Because they've been there always, and I was just used to it. And then my tendency sometimes was just to dissociate from it and just wait out the pain and then, continue until the next time I'm triggered. And that a lot of times means you keep yourself stuck and you're not really moving forward. And you're wearing all these masks all the time that prevent you from being who you really are, because you're not your triggers. That's not who you are. So the first step would be just to become a really good observer and to know when your ego is stepping in. And the clue to that would be when you feel some sort of pain or some sort of discomfort. That's always a good clue to start and observe. And instead of stepping away from this pain, just kind of stay with it and see what is that all about? What is being triggered in me? What wound is there? What's going on?
Like what button is pushed?
What's my button here? And then it'll take, sometimes it'll take some practice for you to then kind of get to the bottom. Let's see if I have an example. Let's say, well, maybe let's use this example of procrastination. When opportunities are presented to you to do a talk or to do a workshop or something like that, and you just notice that you miss the deadline sometimes and you do some self-sabotage in that direction. Yeah. You miss the window of opportunity. So you can just ask yourself, okay, so what's going on there? What is this really about? And then see what comes up. And then maybe what comes up is, what this is really about is that if I were to step into this event, I would be the center of attention. And then you just keep digging. Okay, so what's so bad about being the center of attention? Yeah. Well, if I'm the center of attention, I'm going to feel exposed. Yes. Well, what's so bad about being exposed? Mm-hmm. Well, if I'm exposed, then everybody will see that I'm a fraud. Yeah. Well, what's so bad about people seeing that? Well, then I'll be rejected. I won't belong. So those might be the core beliefs, the core wounds that are keeping you from that. Yeah. So now that you've been your little observer and you felt into your pain, you didn't run away from it. Instead of going into resistance, you go into acceptance and you really feel into this feeling of, what is it like to feel rejected? Just feel it in your body and expand it instead of suppressing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you resist persists, always. Always. So the way to healing always is through acceptance. And it seems like it's more difficult, but it's actually, it lessens the pain. When you resist, the pain will always be there. You might disassociate from it, but it'll still, you will suffer. So once you are there and you accept whatever is going on, accept this, I'm feeling rejected. That's one of my buttons. Then you talk to your ego. You give your ego a name, make it separate from you. Yeah. Because you are not your ego. You're not all these things, all the limiting beliefs that are running in your subconscious mind, that's not who you really are.
Yeah.
Those are just the little masks that are keeping you from being your authentic self, from being who you really are and what you're meant to do in this world. So you talk to your ego and you tell your ego that you are aware of its good intentions. You thank your ego from trying to protect you, because the ego really does think it is protecting you from suffering.
It thinks it's doing its job, but the ego is very simple. It's not as complicated as we think it is. And it's very simple. And
the ego, all it wants is to survive.
yes.
So it has to be there to survive. That's pretty simple. So it'll jump in whenever it gets an opportunity to. And then once you thank your ego, you go into the fear. Like I said, you feel the fear and you let your ego know that it's okay. I feel what's going on. I'm aware of the consequences and I'm still safe. I still can be safe and secure. And maybe to use the example that I was just mentioning earlier. Well, let's give the ego a name. Let's call it Igor. So you can say, okay, Igor, I know you're trying to keep me safe from suffering.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for wanting to help me.
Yeah.
However, in my life, I would like to experience what it's like to be fully loved, even when I'm rejected. And I want to know what it's like to feel good, even when I make mistakes, even when I stumble around. And for me to be able to do that, I need to practice. And I know I might not be successful right away, but that doesn't mean that I don't know anything. And that doesn't mean that I'm a fraud. It just means that I'm not successful right away. I have to keep trying. And I just want you to know that I am stronger now. And I'm able to deal with all the consequences that come along with taking my rightful place in this world, that come along with stepping into my power. So you can go rest now.
Yeah.
And just watch me be brave. So that's a little speech you can give to your ego.
Yeah, just talk to it like it's a friend and thank it and say thank you for being there for me and go take a nap.
Go take a nap, yeah. And then the ego will of course like all the attention.
Yeah.
And that's a way kind of to trick and bypass it. And then you get to shine the light of your heart on your pain instead of keeping it up there with your mask. So you free up all this energy to shine it onto your pain, and then that's where the healing begins. And then sometimes when I do this process, I just feel it kind of melt away, and that pinch of the rejection it just dissipates slowly.
Yeah.
You know, healing is a process. And and then you drop your masks one by one, and you operate from your heart, from the light of your heart, and you can be then who you truly are and who you are meant to be in this world, and completely step into your calling, which is, I think, the most fulfilling thing in this world, is to live out your soul plan, your calling.
Yeah, what you're meant to be here for.
Yeah, and that is delicious authenticity.
It is. It
to
is.
Me.
You know, it's like I was talking to somebody not too long ago about kind of something similar to this and everything, and she came back and she said something about, is there ever, or maybe it was, I don't know who it was, but they said, is there ever a need to have that protection there? And I just was like, yeah, if your house is on fire or a car is coming at you when you're crossing the street, then yeah, you need to get out of the way. So you do need some protection of the ego somewhere, but it's very primal. It's
Right.
so
Yeah.
other than that, it's like, no, it's gonna, it can get in the way of you being the successful entrepreneur that you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
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 And the
As long
exercise,
as you're in charge and not have the ego be in charge, you can, let the ego do its thing.
yeah.
As long as you are the master with your heart.
As long as you can still have a conversation with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. That's really good. Oh, thank you so much, Beatrice. That was amazing. And I hope my listening audience, I hope whatever, just to practice and experience what Beatrice was just talking to you about, is about having that conversation with the ego, give it a name. It could be anything you want it to be, and just have this conversation and being grateful for it being there, but also asking it to step aside for a moment. It's just very liberating when you do this little exercise, when it's important to do it. It's just a very clearing thing to do. It's not silly. It could be silly. You can have fun with it. But
Igor.
yeah. Okay. So Beatrice, thank you so much. But before we go, I would like you to share with the audience, where can they find you? Do you have anything that you want to give away to the audience, or where can they find you? And trust me, wherever I post this at, I'll have links. So if people don't get for what you say, but just go ahead and what do you want to do? What do you want to give to the listening audience?
Yeah, if any of this resonated, or if you're struggling with any of this, then I offer free live vision sessions. So you can book a free session with me, and we can shine the light on some of limiting beliefs that might be there, or shine the light on some of the wounds, and see how we can free you from stepping into your full power and being who you're meant to be.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And how can they get hold of you?
You can go through my website, which is beatricealexander.com, or you can go straight to my booking link, which I'm going to spell out. It's Beatrice, BEATRICE -Alexander, ALEXANDER.youcanbookme.me.
Oh, perfect. That's beautiful. And I'll make sure all these links are wherever this video goes, that they'll be attached to the video and even in the podcast, so
Perfect.
that people will be able to find you when they experience this wonderful interview that I just had so much fun. Beatrice, you're a blessed soul. And I just know in our future, we're going to be working together, because I know I have, clients that, my specialty is to teach them to create a better message so that their audience can hear them. But these fears do show up. Mm-hmm. And I can help them with the fears of the public speaking part and all this kind of stuff. But sometimes I need an expert to come in and help support me. So you're the exact person that I would, I'm going to bring you on board and say, hey, can you talk to this person?
Great. That's one of my favorite things, is to play detective and see what beliefs are underneath a fear.
Yeah. I can see we can help each other out in this world, in this crazy, crazy world, along with other entrepreneurs. But thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Thank you for having me here.
And you have a blessed day, because your day in Bali is just starting. Mine here in California is ending. Yours is just starting. Yeah,
I'm in the future.
I love being international.
Yes.
But you have a great day, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Johnie Urban, founder and owner of Sensitive Authentic Speaker, sensitiveauthentic.speaker.com.